Welcome back, Wagoneers, to another exciting episode of the Wasted Wagons podcast. With us, we have Todd, Russ, Pat, and myself. I'm Travis. Today, we're going to be talking about a lot of football. It's going to be a football-packed episode.
Very football heavy.
We are going to give our predictions on the New Orleans Saints football season as far as wins and losses, what their record will be. We're going to talk about their final preseason game. We'll talk about what we think about the quarterback battle. And then we'll also talk about our fantasy football draft day festivities that happened yesterday. But who wants to take us off and start off with a little bit of Saints talk?
I think you guys probably watched all of the preseason, or at least more than me. So maybe one of y'all could give your overall thoughts on what you saw in the 3 games, who you liked, who impressed you, or anything that you maybe want to kind of call out.
I mean, I don't think it's going to differ much from the last time we spoke about the Saints preseason. I think maybe my opinion on the Saints quarterback may have changed because I think even though neither one of them greatly impressed me, I think Spencer Rattler's probably going to end up opening the season as the starter, and they're going to give him the reins until they feel like it's time to pull the plug and let Tyler Shuck do his thing. But again, neither one of them really wowed me in preseason. I mean, the whole team really didn't wow me in preseason. But, yeah, I think that's the one change I have is I think Rattler's going to open the season as a starter. I think he probably needs it. I think Shuck needs to kind of develop a little bit more before he gets his chance to start.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that assessment. I think where we are from where we before the season even started, before any preseason games were played, I think it was generally we all kind of felt this coming. We all thought that it was going to be Spencer Rattler to start the year. He's going to be on a very short leash. I think it's at the time, unless he's putting together win after win after win, I think it's only going to take 3 or 4 losses before you see the Saints coaching staff end up turning to Tyler Shuck and never looking back, and then that's going to be kind of where our future just goes from there.
I have some opinions on that when we get into the schedule rundown about when, if that change is going to happen, when they might do it or when they should maybe. I know on an earlier episode, probably 1 or 2 ago, I said that I need to see Spencer Rattler anymore, and I wanted Shuck to be my opening day's starter. I'd like to go ahead and change that. I'd like Rattler to be the starter. I feel he is a safer play as the starting quarterback just because he's done it longer. He looked competent enough that I don't think it's going to be a huge difference maybe in terms of overall play going from Rattler to the potential of Shuck when Shuck gets in, but he's going to struggle obviously when coming in as a rookie and having no experience. So it makes sense for Rattler to be the starter since he has at least some game time under his belt and some familiarity with the players, both the receivers and the running backs, even though we have a brand new OC and head coach. I think Rattler is the right play to be the starter, but I do also think that his lease will not be super long, also dependent upon maybe O-line play as well, because if the O-line is not looking good and getting hurt, it's not going to be maybe give a fair assessment of what he's actually doing because he's just getting like mauled and having to like run for his life maybe more than normal.
And I think that's one of the more disappointing pieces of the Saints team right now. I thought going into this preseason and just heading into this season in general that the offensive line was going to be one of the bright spots because it seemed like we had all the pieces in place to do it with Banks and Fuaga and McCoy back, and then moving Penning to guard. I thought that was probably a better move. But then you're already starting off with injuries. I don't think McCoy played all preseason, so the line did not look good at all during the preseason. I mean, more specifically, Cesar Ruiz looked absolutely awful during preseason. So I'm not impressed with the O-line, but hopefully they'll get it together at some point during the season.
I think they have the talent to definitely get it all together, and I know Penning might play a big part in that and getting him healthy to see how he makes that full transition to guard. I think that is still one of the more optimistic parts of the team. I think they'll be fine. I think the big thing going back to the quarterbacks is that I wouldn't say, I think if you talk to like I don't know, what do we want to call them, like casual Saints fans or whatnot, they're going to probably bash both of the quarterbacks. They're going to say Rattler played like shit, Shuck played like shit.
Should have drafted your door.
Yep. But in all honesty, like I thought they both played decently. Like I just don't think one of them. I don't think either one of them stood out above the other one. I think they kind of went tit for tat and played pretty evenly. Like, again, we saw this last week. Spencer Rattler looked pretty decent with the offensive starters in there. He didn't look great, but he didn't look terrible. And then Shuck comes in, he has a couple of 3-and-outs, but then he ends up leading a drive where he makes a nice touchdown run. So again, I don't think either one of them played pitifully. Like, I think I think they get negative criticism from the media and from some of the locals, but I think you also got to keep in mind that they're both young. They're playing with not the most talented roster in the league either. So overall, I think they did okay.
Going back to the O-line, I kind of feel like we don't need them to be a top 5, top 10 unit. I don't think we have the talent for them to be ranked maybe that high. Maybe not initially, but if they're just competent, top 15, 16, 17, middle of the road, but can hold up in good moments and give just the above league average amount of protection so that one of these two quarterbacks can figure things out and try to get the ball to the playmakers we do have. That's my first worry. The quarterback play, I don't think is going to be at an extremely high level no matter who it is. But if the O-line isn't doing their job at a minimum, then we're not going to get much of anything out of quarterback play because they're going to be just inundated with pressure and things like that. And I don't know how much Kamara and the other running backs are going to be able to take the pressure and help with the running game to let these two quarterbacks kind of operate at a decent level and learn and get better and progress as the season goes along.
One of the other things I want to point out too is like the starting defense actually looked really well against the Broncos starter for a while. I think the glaring aspect that we saw we were missing was Alontae Taylor on the field. That we've talked about, to me, their lack of depth at corner, and I think that definitely started to show after the Broncos had 3 or 4 drives. You can kind of see that Bo Nix started to kind of pick on Kool-Aid McKinstry a little bit, and he was targeting Cortland Sutton most of the game, which, by the way, we'll get in fantasy talk, but I see y'all took a 5th-round pick on Sutton. I think he's going to be a stud for y'all this year. Bo Nix seems to really have some chemistry with him, but I think had Alontae Taylor been in that game, a little bit more of a veteran corner, he's had some bad coverage kills in the past, but I think he's kind of growing into more of a leadership role. And I really think had he been on the field, we might not have seen the starters for the Broncos put up as many points because the Saints defense had a couple of nice. I think the first 3 times the Broncos starters went on the field, they were able to shut them down pretty well.
I mean, even the backups got some good pressure on the. Granted, they were playing against other backups, but they still got pressure on the quarterback at the time and kind of flushed him out and made him make some ill-timed throws. So the defense, our front 7 is getting older, but I think they're probably going to be the cornerstone of our defense. Mm-hmm. I'm more concerned about what the back end secondary is going to look like and how they're going to be able to hold up, especially when you get some of these elite receivers or top 10 or even a big body receiver like Sutton or in players like that. So, or what you're going to do is you get a speed burner like Neighbors maybe or something like that. You're going to have to face that guy soon.
Yeah.
Regardless of who's throwing the ball to him, he's a threat regardless. But how are they going to be able to hold up with that kind of speed and a physical receiver as well?
Well, on the back end, though, I think their safeties are fine. Like I think, between Justin Reed, is it Justin Blackman from the Colts? I don't know if it's or is Justin the old receiver from the Jaguars? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, Justin Blackman's the old receiver from the Jaguars.
Blackman, the guy we got from the Colts. We have 2 veteran safeties back there as starters, and then I really like our 3rd-round pick in Jonas Sanker. I think he's going to see a lot of playing time. He played really well through the preseason. I think Sanker and Stutzman are 2 guys that the Saints are going to put on the field in special packages pretty often as young guys. And then when we say the front 7's getting older, but they're a strength, I don't think we're really missing a beat because I think as soon as DeMario is off the Saints, you're going to see Danny Stutzman come in and be like the next DeMario Davis. So again, I thought I was a lot more optimistic on our starting D, especially once we know we have McKinstry and Taylor on the field. I still think we could use another corner for depth, but at the same time, I was definitely more impressed with the starting D than I thought I'd be.
Yeah, maybe that's what I meant to say. I'm more concerned about the cornerbacks than I am some of the safeties. Just McKinstry seems to kind of be up and down. He hasn't really figured out a transition, that talent, his play from college at Alabama to a consistent level at the pros. And maybe that's something that's coaching on the cornerback coach or the DC and whatnot. But hopefully Staley coming in, even though he was not good with the Chargers on the defense side of the ball, even as the head coach, that's where he made his name, was being a DC. So maybe hopefully his first year he can kind of coach these guys up and give them some good direction and elevate their play a little bit. But it'll be see. I'm more about the cornerbacks than I am the overall defense and the safeties, like you said.
I really wish something would have evolved from the trade rumors with Asante Samuel Jr. That would have been something where we could have now had maybe Kool-Aid coming in playing that nickel, where he had Samuel and Taylor starting. And I apologize, Julian Blackman is actually our safety, not the former Oklahoma State receiver.
Is that Justin's cousin?
I don't
know.
Brother, maybe. I don't know both J's, but no, I think between the two veteran safeties there, I think we'll be pretty solid.
Yeah, I also think that the guy, Riley, the cornerback that we have, has kind of showed some signs of brightness. I think he had a pick in this game, in the third game. So, I mean, he's a rookie, so I think you'll, maybe an up-and-comer to look at this season.
I know he's a physical guy, too. He likes to play, likes to play a physical style, make some big hits. So I don't think it's all bad. I do think us as Saints fans just really need to slow down and realize, like, hey, this is going to be a growth year. Like, if we're about to go through our schedule projections, and yeah, they're going to probably be lower than us as Saints fans want to see. But at the same time, we have to realize this is a growth year, and this is something like we want to see some of these young players develop, and hopefully next year looks a lot better.
I do think most every Saints fan that's not in a complete nutcase is, kind of temper the expectations on, and probably a bit more doom and gloom than like forward-thinking positivity. So I think most every fan's kind of looking at the 4 to 6, maybe 7 win window, because we know we have okay quarterback play and a rookie. The O-line is going to be whatever. We don't know what that's going to turn out to be just yet. We know we have at least a consistent, solid running back and a decent running back room, at least in name and what should be on paper. How it plays out, we'll see. We always have a tight end by committee. And again, there are no all-star or Pro Bowlers, but they've been serviceable. So I think it'll come down to scheming the offensive line, the head coach, and some play calling to kind of make some things easier for their quarterbacks. And then I think that more importantly, the defense needs to be opportunistic and help us get some short fields, some turnovers, some takeaways, deflections to get us off the field, because I have a feeling the offense might be a bit kind of stuck in the mud for a little while they're trying to just sort everything out and get their feet together. So the defense, I think, will be what we'll have to kind of lean on the most, especially in the first 4 or 5 weeks to help out the offense and play complementary football.
Yeah.
Any surprise guys that you think will get cut? Any guys that you really want to see make the team that really impressed you during preseason?
I think the most interesting cuts are going to be in that wide receiver room and running back room, to be honest with you. I think those are going to be the two spots I'm looking at. We made before our third preseason finale, we ended up making that trade, a 4th round pick for Devon Vele from the Broncos, and he was that big body receiver that we've been missing. So I think making a trade with a 4th round pick probably assures his roster spot. So that means you already had Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks already locked into roster spots. So now I think Vele locks up that 4th receiver spot. So then it becomes, how many are they going to keep? Are they going to keep 5? Are they going to keep 6? Are they going to possibly keep 7? And then, I think to me, a guy who I pegged as making the team at first was is it Calvin Austin Jr.?
Mario Austin.
He's a big body receiver. I thought he was going to be a guy. He made a couple of really big catches in the first. He was actually the guy Shuck was looking for the most in the preseason 1 game, and he looked really good. Like, okay, maybe he could be that big red zone guy. Well, now that you have Vele, I think he's instantly put on that bubble as a guy who might get cut.
And he dropped a few in both game 2 and 3.
Speaking of drops, Wilson, I think, is probably, unless he's going to be able to do something on special teams to help out, Tipton, I think, is ahead of him. And if we're going to cut one and not keep, say, 7, I think Wilson's probably my first choice to go. just because I saw enough drops to be like, this is going to be a problem.
But I also think having like Velas Jones as like a third or fourth running back pretty much makes him expendable on special teams because Velas Jones is probably going to be your primary punt or kick returner.
Yeah. One of the things is like if Mason Tipton doesn't make the team, then something's wrong. Like, I mean, I think if we went around this table and said who has been the biggest surprise of the whole preseason training camp through the games, it's Mason Tipton to me. Like, I mean, the guy looked like he was the receiver that was trying his ass off to make this team, and I don't think he's a lock, which to me he should be. But because you have those first four already kind of taken right there, does he get put on the bubble? I mean, every year it seems like the Saints end up cutting somebody that we feel like should have really made the team. I think Manti Te'o's last year with the Saints, I think he was cut, and it was a kind of an unexpected one because of how well he had played the previous year. So I think there's a lot of times the Saints will make like a big cut and not,
Well, if you remember, Jonathan Abram played really well in preseason last year, and they caught him, and then nobody picked him up, so he made the Saints practice squad, was promoted halfway through the year, and cut again. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Tipton's going to get cut. I think if he does, there's no shot in hell he's going to make a practice squad. I think other teams have probably seen what he did in preseason. Will probably scoop him up.
Yeah. To officially go around the table, Russell, we have not heard from you, and I always do this to you, so I'm going to somewhat apologize on the front end.
I've been cooking. I've been thinking.
Oh, you've been in the lab cooking? You got some hot takes for us?
He does some more macarons.
He does have his schedule made out, so I think
what makes you think that it came up through my head, not from a ranker list or something like that?
I think you know the Saints well enough to.
Yeah, and you're not as, I'd say, diehard of a football fan maybe as the three of us, but you've watched enough. You just, even as a casual Saints fan, casual fan on a Sunday, wherever you may have been watching. Anything you saw from the Saints that just good or bad that just kind of comes to your mind?
So, I mean, I didn't watch any of the preseason games,
okay.
or very little of them. I think just during the draft day yesterday, we watched a portion of the game, but that was it. So, I mean, like, outside of that, I don't really have an opinion. Like, you got Rattler and Shuck, which through talking with friends, through talking with y'all, they seem relatively equal. I think we've discussed previously that Shuck's probably got a higher ceiling. So, like, ultimately, I'd like to see him take over. I don't know when, because it does seem like Rattler's going to start off. And, I mean, I think we have a couple losses coming our way right off the start of the season. So, I don't know when it would be a good time to pull him. But I guess we'll see, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. So,
now that you've been on this with us for probably close to a year and a half, maybe now.
Yeah,
we've kind of forced you into, not really forced, but we've kind of guided you into being more of a football.
I have watched way more sports in the last year and a half than I ever have before.
I think Russell's more excited about hockey season than any of them.
I probably actually am.
100%
Nice.
agreed.
Well, I'm getting excited.
I just got some new shoelaces to make my abs J's.
Okay.
I'll be excited about hockey season for the first couple of weeks.
The Sharks might surprise teams this year. They got a young, fast core. So, I'm real. I know we're getting off topic of football.
Can they play goalie?
Well, Askarof's supposed to be like the up and comer, but
He didn't look good last year.
I'm going to be very much into hockey season this year, though. This is I'm probably going to be in tune from the beginning until the end, regardless of how good the Kings are. Because I was reading up this morning actually that this is going to be Anze Kopitar's probably farewell season. So it's going to be an emotional one for me. Just we did the top 5 hockey players for a couple pods ago, and he was number 2 all time for me. So just being able to watch him play his final season with the Kings is going to be an emotional one for me.
We need to get the tissues out here.
Yeah, pretty much.
So before we get into the schedule rundown and our predictions, was there anything else from the NFL football as a whole that caught your eye, or was it something you want to maybe look at or keep an eye on for the season?
One other Saints player, though, that I would like to see make the roster, and because I feel like, much like Mason Tipton, he played his ass off, and I feel like we're insanely weak at the tight end position, is Trayton Welch. I feel like he made some key catches. He made a key special teams recovery. I feel like he's vastly outplayed any other tight end that we have on the roster. Jacobson, the rookie that we got from UCLA,
The guy we picked
including Jawan Johnson. I mean, Foster Moreau, I don't even think played in the preseason.
And the guy Stoll, we got from the Eagles. I think he's outplayed him. And then the rookie from UCLA, that said. So it's the problem is going to be like they have a lot of people in that position. So it'll be interesting, and you already know.
You have a lot of not God in that position.
But, one thing we're also forgetting is, like, you already pretty much know Jawan Johnson and Foster Moreau are going to take the spots, and then Taysom Hill was rostered as a tight end. So now that you already have 3, you're probably going to keep 4. So does Welch make that 4th spot? I'm like Todd. I agree. I think he's the one that really earned it. But, we'll see. They don't pay us the big bucks to make those decisions.
Can we just put Foster Moreau on the special teams and leave him there? Maybe bring him as a blocking tight end. I don't need to see him play much at all.
I actually think Moreau has better hands than Johnson.
I agree.
I don't disagree with that. I think Johnson might be slightly more talented, but Foster Moreau seems to be more reliable from like a check down safety standpoint in his better hands.
Then again, Moreau did drop that touchdown against Jacksonville last year.
Yeah.
That would have sealed the game for us.
I don't know what outside of the Tulane pull is why fans love him so much.
He was LSU and Jesuit. So
Who else from Tulane? Yeah. Well, then never mind. I know why the fans have such a pull to him. It's the LSU thing.
But Jawan Johnson, to me, like Todd said, he seems to show up in the red zone. He'll make some touchdown grabs. He is known for some frying pan hands between the 20s. Bing. And he also doesn't block very well. So I mean, like, there's a lot of negative to the guy.
There's a lot of holes.
I think we definitely overpaid for him.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But since you said outside of the league, what are some interesting things around the league? I would, much like the Saints when we're talking about Spencer Rattler with the short leash and wondering when we're going to turn the shuck. Look at the Giants. I mean, did you see the preseason that Jackson Dart put up? Mm-hmm. I mean, how quickly do they turn?
I'm gonna go into that in the Saints schedule.
How quickly do they turn from Russell Wilson to him? That's. I mean, his numbers were insane.
So, are they really going to actually start Russell Wilson?
Yes. No, he's already been announced as the starter.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll change my damn pick then.
They said that before, I think even preseason started, that it was Russell Wilson's job, and that, maybe they'll get to Dart at some point depending on how the season goes, but they announced him as the number one long time ago.
I mean, look, I know I'm not giving up on Shuck. I feel like the guy's upside is going to be big just because of how tall he is, how fast he is, how good his arm talent is. I mean, he makes some unique throws. But now I do wish we would have maybe taken
a quick release.
I wish we would have maybe taken a better look at maybe getting back into that first round and really getting Dart, because he looks like he's going to be the real deal. So, yeah,
having watched him at Ole Miss, I've seen the highs and the lows of his play, and it's not fully feast or famine, but he's got all the arm talent. He's super strong. He's fearless, which is good and bad. He will turn the ball over, but he can make plays with his legs, and I think that surprised people more than anything. Who don't really follow him from college.
But I also think that the confidence aspect. I mean, the kid just looks confident. I mean, you don't see too many rookies just stepping in there and taking the reins. And
my man has a massive Cuban link chain on, and he shows it off. So he definitely has confidence.
I got one more question related to Jackson.
I already know what it's going to be, because I was probably going to say the same thing.
How much ass do you think that young man gets?
Well, from what the young kids have told me, because of course I've never been on Ole Miss's campus, but they say that the women on Ole Miss's campus are top notch, and when you have a guy that looks like him in the highest position of sports, I think he did just fine, and he probably still does.
I'd imagine he hasn't had a drop off.
No, all right. So neither here nor there with that. That's always Todd's way to derail a conversation. But
I think my biggest, from the bigger picture of football, not concerned, but thing I'm intrigued about the most is probably to see what happens with Stafford and his back situation, and actually what the Rams do in general. I think the Eagles are probably, on paper, maybe still the best team in the NFC, along with the Rams, because the Rams played them within one catch of beating them in Philadelphia in the snow. Yeah. But the losses of Philadelphia had on defense, I think that's going to kind of pull them back a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to see what Jaden Daniels looks like in year 2, what the McLaurin situation is going to play out to be, and how that affects him.
So while we're on the Commanders, that was going to be the next point I wanted to bring up. I don't know, what that trade that just happened between the Commanders and the 49ers, where Brian Robinson was sent to the 49ers, and now essentially the Commanders have basically said they're going with the rookie as their starter. They haven't quote unquote said it because they still have Eckler there, but they have what Bob Krosky Merritt is pretty much been named the starter without officially being named the starter. And I was wondering kind of what the 49ers were doing with that move. I guess they're just banking on the fact that Christian McCaffrey could get hurt, but
I definitely think that's an insurance play to just prevent themselves from being hamstrung if something happens to McCaffrey. And I think Shanahan will probably use him a decent amount because he's a good back. He just had issues with Washington and I don't know, maybe pay, but he wasn't happy there. So I think they would say they weren't going to pay him when his contract or his rookie deal ended. So they want to get something for him now before he just kind of got to walk.
Because he had a really good year last year. I remember that was one of the bright spots of Maury's team last year, where Jaden Daniels would consistently get him in the 5, and they would usually hand it off to him, and he scored a boatload of touchdowns last year.
Pat, I think you might have misspoke. You used the word if McCaffrey gets hurt, and I think that should be a when.
If you
Just
look,
speaking from experience.
I'm very much aware. I too suffered from the McCaffrey injury situation in a different league, but that's part of the reason we made a conscious effort to get what we felt like was 4 quality running backs in our fantasy draft this year to get 3 other really good quality running backs because of the potential possibility of McCaffrey, the if and maybe the when something happens to him.
I learned some new terminology within the last couple days, and I will now be referring to him as small bones.
Small bones.
Yes.
Is that like a technical term?
It's definitely not technical,
or just
but
just a
it's
nickname you now have for him.
I know we're going to table our fantasy discussion for later, but I'm noticing that y'all went with Jonathan Taylor in the second round. That's an interesting one.
Did some repressed memories come up?
I had a brief moment of pause when we were looking at the options. So obviously we took McCaffrey first, but we wanted Henry as our running back 2, but he got taken the pick behind right after us. So looking at the board and the other backs, it just kind of fell that way. I'm not upset with the pick. I just hope that we make certain to use him properly,
Yeah.
and I hope he has a consistent year.
I certainly don't think y'all should feel bad about taking that pick. I'm just,
I mean,
there's a little bit of a sore spot there for you.
that is, and it will always be in my mind. I will never forget it. But he had some inconsistent moments, and I think he was hurt for a little bit last year. But then he came back and he went on a pretty decent run to close out the season. But yeah, you know what? I'm not going to be a bad teammate. I'm going to say that as a collective, we made a bad decision to sit him that game, and he made us pay for it. So you live and you learn, right?
Was it a collective?
It was a collective.
It's a team effort.
Hey,
I feel like I'm reading between the lines.
you can read whatever you want. I will not. I said what I said on record. We
Pat can tell you that story off air.
we made the decision as a team, as a unit, as a collective, in lockstep, to not play Jonathan Taylor that game.
Okay. That's your word, and you're going with it, huh?
It is on wax.
Okay.
I said what I said.
All right. Well, without further ado, why don't we go ahead and jump into our Saints predictions here?
All right, let's do it.
All right. So, week 1, the Saints will play the Arizona Cardinals in the Superdome. Why don't we go around the table, Todd? You can start. I'll go last.
I think this is a winnable game. I just think based off of what I saw in preseason, they're going to come into the game, the season opener, completely unprepared, and it's going to be an L. That's all. That's really all I got. I mean, I don't think there's anything special about the Cardinals. It may be a close game. Maybe Rattler kind of tries to put it together at the end, but I still think we'll come up short and lose.
I 100% agree. I just don't. I think we're going to be woefully unprepared. Just starting off, trying to get things going, and it's just going to set the tone for the season.
I also have as a loss and primarily because not that Kyler Murray is a world beater. He's a well above average quarterback. He's pretty good. He's good. The combination of him with his
not great.
with his scramble ability, McBride, and the possibility of Marvin Harrison Jr. taking a step forward to be more involved and actually show up for games and play well consistently, I think that offense is going to give us some fits. But again, I think it'll come down to the Saints defense getting some pressure and making Kyler Murray uncomfortable. I don't think we're going to do enough of that. And though they may not score a ton of points, I don't think our offense is going to be in any kind of like good enough rhythm to finish drives and not just settle for field goals and touchdowns. We have to convert possessions in their side of the field and inside the 25 and 20 into touchdowns. We can't have these three straight stalled drives that result in field goals. We need to convert those, and I think that's going to be our big weakness early on, is converting those possessions to touchdowns and keeping up with teams, because if we start behind.
All right, so here's where I'm going to disagree with y'all. I think we're going to win this game. And I feel like it's going to be like a return to the Dome after Katrina game. I think it's going to be one of these things where the Saints are going to come out, they're going to be motivated to get a win for Kellen Moore. I think that Staley is going to have a good game plan to contain Kyler Murray. I think we're going to do a lot of double coverage on Marvin Harrison Jr. My big worry would be McBride, because outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. and McBride, like their 2-3 receivers are not scary. I mean, who they have? Michael Wilson and who's the little guy? His name escapes me, but he's like a little slot receiver who's been there for a little while. But none of those guys are really, make you too nervous, other than Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. So I think if you game plan to contain Murray and have good coverage on McBride and Harrison, I feel like we could win that one. I think Rattler's going to have a chip on his shoulder to play really well. I just feel like it has one of those feelings where it could be, hey, we're gonna win this game and we're gonna start the season off on the right foot. Saints fans will get all excited about it, only to get their hearts broken, and a couple of weeks later than the very next week. But to me, I'm gonna pick a W here. I think it's one of those ones where we're gonna start the season off on the right foot and play with a lot of passion.
Now, just to jump out of line, but to piggyback on what you just said, I think that's the reason we go and get the win against San Francisco.
Okay.
Because we're only going to be playing against Purdy and Ricky Pearsall is the number one, and then McCaffrey. Yeah. Yes, they also have Kittle, yes, too, so that's a concern. But I think the wide receiver room in San Francisco is much weak, or is very, very weak, because Ayuk is still injured. They lost Debo, so it's Pearsall and a couple guys I don't even really know the names of.
Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But I think the biggest concern for the Niners will be the losses on defense, and how that defense can they find someone else to replace, like Greenlaw, and step up and make plays. They're still going to be pretty solid on the front, but I think this is the winnable game, because we're not facing a world beater at quarterback. There's limited receiving options, and they don't know what their defense is going to look like in real game situations. So this might be one, being another home game, that we could steal from a team that's right now feels more like they're living on their past 2, 3, 4 years of success coming into it like that. But their roster seems to be a bit limited right now.
I 100% agree with Patrick. I think the Saints are actually going to win this game, and it's because, as Patrick kind of already mentioned,
Eloquently
mentioned.
Thank you.
That the defense is pretty depleted. Like I don't. There's nothing really scary about that defense other than Nick Bosa,
Fred Warner,
and Fred Warner too. But I think that you kind of started to see signs of that last year, that their defense was just looking very, very depleted and run down. I think Brock Purdy is a bit on the overrated side.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that.
The two scary pieces of their offense are, as you've already alluded to, Christian McCaffrey, if he can stay healthy, and, of course, George Kittle.
I really hope he stays healthy for week one.
So it's week 2.
Week 2, yeah.
So that's why I have this as a loss. I think Kittle and McCaffrey are going to be healthy for this game, and I think it is like a 50-50 for me. So I think this is another loss for us.
I'm also going to go L on this one, and the reason why I think we're gonna play our asses off week one. We're gonna get the one. You know, we had to win on week one, and it's like my dad always would say, like when you come off of a big emotional win, the next week you tend to play a little flat. So I think the Saints will play flat. I also think Shanahan is a really good coach. I think he's going to probably outcoach Kellen Moore in this game. And utilize the tools that you have. I do think you bring up an excellent point, though. Like I'm almost forgetting that Deebo Samuel's not there anymore, and Ayuk is going to be on the PUP for like 6 weeks or something like that. So yeah, they are depleted at receiver. I just think that Shanahan will probably come out and outcoach Kellen Moore a little bit, and I think we're going to play a little bit flatter than we did week one, just coming off of an emotional win.
Really, really quick. I think on paper, the 49ers have an advantage at every measurable position, maybe offense, defense, and head coach and coaching. But I just feel like if we're gonna steal a game somewhere, I feel like this might be the one to do it. I'm be more concerned about Kyler Murray running around making plays to extend drives than I am Brock Purdy, who, even though he's a bit overrated, he has shown enough flashes that he's good enough. But yeah, so again, on paper, this is probably not a win for us, just from a who has the advantage at each position that matters. But I feel like not being another home game, we can maybe fix some things and we could steal one. Like if the defense gets a couple of turnovers, I think we can get in this game and maybe squeak out a 3-point win, a 1-point win, something like that.
All right, so week 3, we hit the road and go to Seattle over on the West Coast. I'm going to go ahead and start off. I think this is going to be an L for us as well. Just first game on the road with a new coaching staff, young quarterbacks. The Seattle's a hard place for away teams to play. You know, they call themselves the 12th man for a reason. It gets very loud in there. They disrupt play calls. I don't necessarily see Seattle blowing us out. I think we can probably stay pretty close with them. I'm not a huge believer in Sam Darnold, but at the same time, I do think we end up losing this game. I think the crowd plays an impact. I think the first road game with the young team is gonna be rough. So I'm gonna go with an L on this one.
I actually think we're gonna win this one. I do. Now, putting that into perspective, though, I mean, you got the 12th man, you got that loud, noisy ass stadium. I didn't put those two together, but I just think the Seahawks are just not a good team. I think Sam Darnold going from Minnesota to Seattle is going to be a major downgrade. He's losing some of those weapons he had in Minnesota. I mean, Smith and Jig was pretty good, but he's not Jefferson good.
Right.
They also don't have.
They don't really have a strong.
They don't have DK
either.
Metcalf as well.
Yeah, they lost DK
They
Metcalf.
did pick up Cooper Kupp.
True, and we'll see how fast he can assimilate with the team.
We'll see how fast he can get hurt.
I'm noticing a trend with these players that we're saying get hurt pretty often.
Well, I feel like one of these is more like you guys wishing the McCaffrey thing trying to almost into existence. It feels more like a Russell, like living with some battle scars kind of.
I have no idea.
I already told y'all before the fantasy draft. If McCaffrey was there at 10, I was taking him. I mean, he's just too good to not. I mean, he's a gamble. You roll the dice, but at the same time, when he plays, he's great. Best player in fantasy.
Yeah, so I don't think there's anything on the Seahawks really that wows me. I don't think Sam Darnold is much of an upgrade from Geno Smith, if he even is an upgrade. He loses some. I think he takes a step down at receiver, going from Jefferson to Smith and Jigba. I mean, I don't know. Is their defense any good?
Yes, they're not maybe top 5, top 8, but they're above average, so they'll be pretty solid.
I think we're going to eke out a win.
Okay. I think it'll be a close game. I'm not gonna lie.
I think this is a loss as well. We're coming 3 losses right out the bat. It's just not going to look good from my perspective.
Yeah. Well, then from what we've seen in the preseason, I mean it's logical. I mean nobody's going to criticize on that. And as a matter of fact, I'm going through this and seeing what I wrote down as a final record, and I do feel like I'm being a bit on the optimistic side. So, but anyway, it's hopeful.
I have this game as a loss, and I think this is the first time where we are going to see if our defense can hold up to a massive running game and be a two-headed. McCaffrey by himself is a problem, but Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker III, I think they're going to try to deploy those two backs a lot to make the Darnold transition easier on him and the rest of the offense. I feel like it's like a small like kind of a gut check for our defense. Can we stop the run with consistency and get the Seahawks into a third and like a long situation and make Darnold see ghost again or have the poor play that he had at the end of the Minnesota season that really kind of wrecked them, honestly. Like I said, the 12th man is going to be rowdy. It's going to be rowdy. They're going to be loud. They're probably going to get at least 2 or 3 false starts or penalties caused by the crowd noise in the situation. So it'll be very much a big test for the starting quarterback for the Saints at the time, whoever that may be. But Seattle doesn't scare me, I don't think, but I'm concerned about just all the factors coming together, especially with their running game or their desire to probably run the ball to maybe take us out of that game and just grind the game down. I think it's going to be fairly low scoring. I'm talking like 17-13, maybe 20 will get you a win.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think they're just going to try to really extend drives and like have 8-9 minute drives to not let Darnold get too crazy and get out of his and get in a comfort zone. So I have it as a loss.
All right, the next one, and I don't think we need to really spend a whole lot of time on it. So it's the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. So let me just flat out say this: I think this is the year Buffalo goes over and wins the Super Bowl. I think Josh Allen gets close every year. He's accomplished the MVP last year. I think that this is the year the Bills are going to actually win the Super Bowl. For a Spencer Rattler or a Tyler Shuck to go into Buffalo in the freezing cold, the crazy-ass Bills Mafia, to play against one of the best teams, if not the best team in football, I think this could be an ass-raping, to tell you the truth. I think this could be a very lopsided game.
I think what you're saying is Josh Allen may be removed from this game in like the second after halftime.
And may give way. Is Mitch Trubisky still their backup? I mean, is it give way to Mitch Trubisky?
I think he is.
So anyway,
I agree. I don't know if I'm going to make as bold of a statement as Travis just made, saying that the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. But Josh Allen is certainly on that hunt. He won MVP last year. I think he's going to do everything in his power to push towards winning a Super Bowl. They're just a well-rounded team. Great defense, great offense. I just don't think the Saints have any chance at all winning this game.
Yeah, barring a Josh Allen injury, this game I think is going to be brutal and probably a blowout, like 41-10, 13, something like that. Just their offense is so high-powered, and I don't care how good our defense plays on the back end or whatnot. I don't know these frogs out of nowhere.
I thought Todd sealed this garage. I don't.
And he sealed from the outside, not the inside.
The door doctor did a great job of sealing it.
Well, he didn't do a great job sealing your asshole. But yeah, back on topic. I think most everyone has got this game as a loss for the Saints. There's no advantage on either side of the ball for us. So let's just get out of this game healthy with everyone in one piece and just move on to week 5 because I think it's gonna be bad.
Obvious L.
Okay. All right. So week 5, we are back at home and we play the New York Giants. This one to me is very intriguing, and I think a lot can happen at this. I think at this point I still feel like we may have Spencer Rattler in at quarterback, but I think after this game we might see that shift that we just talked about about what might be some of the surprises in the NFL preseason, and I think we end up winning this game. We make Russell Wilson look pretty bad, and maybe they make that switch from Wilson to Dart afterwards. Again, I think Malik Neighbors is very scary. I don't think their running game is that great. I think Russell Wilson is as washed as they come. I think if we can do a good job of concealing Malik Neighbors, I think we can win this game at home. I think that the Dome can really help us push through.
You don't love Tyrone Tracy Jr.?
I think Tyrone Tracy's a good running back. We had him in fantasy last year. I don't think he's a wow running back. I think he's okay, but I think we could stop him.
He's good. He's just not great.
Here's the problem with this game for me. I have it as a loss. I understand that Russ he's not cooked, but he's getting pretty close to being cooked. Not you, Russell Wilson. Although you can cook.
He can bake.
Here's how we lose this game. one or two lost fumbles, maybe an interception. Malik Neighbors, 8 catches, 160 something yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Tracy, 20 something rushes, 105 yards, and we don't have the firepower to maybe get back in this game. The Giants' defensive line is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
The back end not nearly as good, but that front four is insane, especially with Abdul. Even before Abdul Carter got there, they have 2 or 3 really good pass rushers: Brian Burns, Kevon Thibodeau, and
They've got Dexter Lawrence.
and
too.
Dexter Lawrence. So just those 3 alone is going to wreak havoc on what we feel is like a somewhat pedestrian Saints offensive line. And if they get a couple like strip sacks, fumbles, or just a lot of sacks in general, a lot of pressures that lead to turnovers, that's going to put us in a really bad spot. And again, Malik Neighbors had Daniel Jones throwing to him, and he still put up incredible numbers.
Yeah.
All it takes is one Russ Moonball to open it up, and we could be in a problem.
Yeah.
I'd like to think this is a game that we should win, but this also feels like a game that the Saints would lose because they just do Saints things.
Yeah. I get it. And look, even though I put it down as a W, I don't think any of the Saints' wins this year are going to be blowouts. I think they're all going to be close, scratch by wins, and I think that's the case. I think Staley comes out with a good plan to double team Neighbors. I think he makes Russell Wilson, try to throw the ball elsewhere. I do like Wandale as a little slot guy, but I think the Saints win this one in a close one.
I also agree. I have 4 losses ahead of this, so we got to get a win at some point. So the Giants are going to have some problems with Russell Wilson if he's still, I guess, actually throwing for them at that point. And I think this is our first W.
I marked this down as a loss because I was under the impression that Jackson Dart was going to be starting. I mean, as I've already said in preseason, watching this kid play, he's confident. He's putting up big numbers. If he's playing this game against the Saints, it's definitely a loss. I don't think he's going to be intimidated by the Saints' shitty defense.
His problem is going to be a bit of accuracy. He had big numbers, but his completion percentage wasn't that great. Again, they don't need Russell Wilson to turn back the clock to like Super Bowl championship Russell Wilson. Even the version of him that played in Pittsburgh last year, the average of him is good enough. And again, it only takes 2 deep balls to really stress out any team, and he's good for 1. So if they hit on 1 or 2 of them, I think it could be a problem. This is the game I probably should have had as a win because we're home, and I think the dome advantage was going to be a help and benefit to us. But I'm trying to temper what little optimism I have and just be like, man, this doesn't feel. It's not like a trap game, but it feels like this is the game that we should win and somehow don't because something happens. I'm more worried about the Giants' pass rush than I am the Giants' offense doing damage.
All right, our next game, we're still staying at home, and we're going against the young Patriots team. And I think this is also one that we could potentially win. I do know Drake May's a damn good young quarterback. I don't think they really did enough to put weapons around him, though. I mean, and I say this as Todd and I drafted Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs is going to get a shit ton of targets this year. But outside of that, Pop Douglas is his number 2. He's not a bad receiver by any stretch, but he's not one that scares me by any stretch either. Hunter Henry's their tight end. He doesn't really scare me anymore. Their defense is pretty legit, but at the same time, I think this is a winnable game at home. I think it could be a very back and forth, very close game, but I think it's one the Saints could definitely edge out a victory.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that the Pats quite scare me yet. Drake May's coming off of, he's going to be in his second year. They're doing the 2-headed monster running back system, and I don't think Stevenson is impressing me. Who's the guy that's taking his job?
Trevion Henderson from Ohio
State University. Yeah. And again, I don't think is their defense strong?
Not great, but they have a really good Christian Gonzalez, I believe is his name. Is their stud cornerback.
Yeah.
So this is. Not to cut you off, but go jump ahead, but this is the game where this is a Shaheed game for me. Kind of like all it takes is one Neighbors bomb to open up a game. I think this would be the game that Shaheed will have a big pass reception, maybe not lead to a touchdown, but that he can help open up because Gonzalez is going to be dealing with Olave primarily, I guess. So there's options for Shaheed. All he needs is one deep ball to get under and could turn this.
W. I'm going with Saints W in this one.
Yeah, I agree. Since I got a win at week 5, I think we're going to come off of that pretty high and just kind of take advantage of the new Patriots and get another win.
It's a win for me as well. I think we have enough with the experience on his team going against a second-year quarterback in Drake May, who though looked really good, he's still on his second year. A rookie running back. Really, their wide receivers other than Diggs don't really bother me or scare me like you said, Travis. So I don't think they have enough to really scare us, but we need to play well. But I think this is a game that maybe our offense somehow hits on one or two big plays to make it to get us in this game and win.
All right, so the next game is in Chicago on the road. This is a big question mark. I think the Bears are probably the biggest question mark team in the league for me because they could very easily still suck or they could very easily take that step forward. Caleb Williams, we already know he's the number 1 overall pick last year. He's got all the talent in the world. We just got to see if he puts it together. Unlike the Patriots, I do think the Bears actually have done Caleb Williams a service. I think they've put weapons around him between DJ Moore, between Rome and Dunze. They just got a first-round tight end to go along with Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift at running back. I think they have a lot of skill players around him that should help them be successful on offense. So this is one, again, I think it's on the road, potential cold weather game. I think it's one that the Bears, again, potentially pretty close game, but I think it's one that the Bears probably eke out the win here, and I think we lose.
I was really on the fence about this one. I initially marked it as a W, but then changed it to an L, and it's because the Bears sucked last year. You don't know what Caleb Williams you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get the drama queen making terrible throws. Watching them play in preseason, though, I mean, they looked damn scary. So, I mean, based off of their preseason and our preseason, the fact that it's away in the cold, I don't think the Saints are going to come away with a W here. I think it's going to be an L. I
agree. I didn't really look too much up for this game specifically, but just based off of being in away and, like you said, in the cold, just those two things, I feel like that's going to wreck us. So it's an L.
So I wanted to go last because I didn't have a pick written down, and I want to see if one of you guys will make an argument to convince me, sway me one way or the other. And I'm going to go with a loss now. My concern is, even if I expect Caleb Williams to take a step under Ben Johnson and play with some sort of consistency and figure things out. But he has all the weapons, like you said, Travis. They have 2 tight ends. The Kmet is good, serviceable. He's a veteran, so he knows what to do. Loveland is super talented. He looks really good in preseason. They still have DJ Moore. They still have Rome Odunze, who needs to show a bit more. So they have the potential on offense to be pretty good. I don't know much about their defense and how that's going to play out. We'll see what Swift does at running back. But now that I think about it, I feel like offensively they are a better unit than we will be. So I'm going to just put a loss because I don't know where we would take advantage of this team at just yet, other than maybe trying to fluster Caleb Williams, but he seems to be much, much improved under Ben Johnson.
So I'm looking at the draft board, and I knew Rome Odunze went pretty late, and see that y'all have him, and I think he could potentially be the steal of the draft. I would not be surprised if he has a better season than DJ Moore this year. I'm just going to flat out say that I think Odunze and Caleb Williams have been really building chemistry. So I would not be surprised if he ends up being their number 1 receiver this year.
He's more of the not just a possession guy. DJ Moore is more of the home run hitter than Odunze is. Odunze is a 50-50 contested ball, catch a ball out on the sideline with his hands, a good route runner, a good enough route runner. DJ Moore is more of your deeper threat. So it seems like he has a pretty good rapport with him with Caleb right now. DJ Moore is still relatively scary, I guess, in terms of catching a couple of deep balls here and there. I just think they're not lacking anywhere on the field, and I think maybe they're going to put us in a nickel or dime package situation a lot, and that's really going to maybe test our cornerbacks. And I don't know if we have enough to hold up against Odunze, DJ Moore, Swift as a running back, and then both tight ends if they play that offensive set. That couldn't cause some problems, and I think that might be the thing that catches us out. I don't know what the weather situation is going to be like in week 8, 7?
7.
Yeah. It could be cold. It could not be. We'll see. But I don't. The Bears crowd doesn't really factor much for me. But if the weather is super cold, then it'll be a problem. But I'm just concerned about them spreading our defense thin more than anything.
Okay. All right. The next game we go back home. We play one of our division rivals, and it is going to be the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think I had us splitting all 3 series last year. I think I had us beating the Panthers twice and then splitting with the Falcons and the Bucks last year. And Todd was the one who called it and said we're going to lose both of them to the Bucks. I think I'm on that train again this year. I think the Bucks defense has gotten a little weaker, but they are supplying Baker Mayfield with all the weapons in the world. He's got 3 awesome receivers right now, so there's no excuse for that offense not to be rolling. The Bucks, I think, are going to win this division again. I know a lot of people are high on the Falcons, but I just think the Bucks are too good right now. I'm going to say that we're going to lose both games to the Bucks this year. So even though we're at home, it's going to be an L for me.
I think Baker's going to cook, and I'm not even saying that because I drafted him in fantasy. You look at what he did last year; he was, I think, second in touchdowns and maybe top 3, 4 in yards, or vice versa, 1 to 2. Either way, he had a hell of a season. Mike Evans is still Mike Evans. We might not like him, but he has been a problem at times for the Saints and for a lot of other teams he's played against, especially in the division. Godwin they kind of lucked out with his injury situation, so he's not really hurt. Emeka Ibuka is the one I think that is going to be a sneaky good pro and fantasy pick.
He was also Ohio State, huh?
Yes. They just turn out receivers.
Actually, they're all-time reception and yardage leader because of just how long and how good he was.
And Bucky Irving, again, this is another team that offensively has all the firepower, and I don't know if we can go toe-to-toe with them in a shootout type game. The defense, yes, is not as good maybe as they were last year, but I think they're slightly better than our defense, not by much, but I think they have the advantage everywhere. Offense, defense, special teams, probably head coaching, just because our coach is a first timer. So this is the Bucks. They're not going to blow us out like Buffalo, but I don't see this game being within reach realistically for us.
Yeah, I don't give the Saints much of a chance. I think Tampa Bay is going to win the division this year. I just think they're better than us at pretty much every angle.
Agreed. Another L from me as well.
All right, then we move to we go out to Los Angeles. We play the Rams away. I am going to go ahead and say this one is going to be an L for us. I think they are still pretty much the same team they were last year. They lost Cooper Kupp, but didn't really miss a beat. Went and signed Devontae Adams. So I think Puka Nacua is just an up and coming budding star to the point where he's going to be solid no matter what. Devontae Adams fills the Cooper Kupp role pretty easily. Matthew Stafford, I know we talked about him being a little injured, but one thing I can say about Matthew Stafford, I think he's one of the toughest sons of bitches in the league. Like that guy rolls himself out on the field, plays through injuries. He doesn't like to sit.
Comes out like Hannibal Lecter.
And so I think the Rams are going to be, again, probably one of the better teams in the NFC. So I'm going to go ahead and say out on the road in Los Angeles will probably be another L. This one also might not be very close.
Yeah, as much as I would love for the Saints to beat the Rams, because I cannot stand McVay, I just think it's not going to happen. I think the Rams' offense is too potent. Again, they don't really have a good defense, but our defense isn't good either. So I think going to LA, why are you looking so quizzical at me?
Because I wanted to know, what don't you like about McVay? Is it just his look, his demeanor? Is he too hot for you?
He's a handsome guy, but I just think he's a cocky bastard.
I mean, if you look that good, would you not be a little cocky too?
I mean, I guess so.
I mean, you're not ugly.
It just doesn't
I'm
make.
just saying, I would think if you look like a dish like that man does, he's put together. He definitely does not skip leg day or chest day.
Yeah, but I'm with
those
Ty.
pecs are pecking.
It also,
Them things are thangin', respectfully.
but I'm with Todd though, just in the sense like I always will tie him back to the no call.
Yep.
And like that's a big reason behind it too.
I mean, and again, that's not necessarily his fault more so than it is the refs, but I mean, fuck the Rams. But they're going to still beat the Saints.
That's another L for me as well. I have a pretty bleak outlook for this season.
Russell, what are you at? What's your account at right now?
I
You got
just
two.
have- I
You
have
got two
two
W's.
wins,
Okay.
2 wins.
Not bad. This game is also a loss for me. Kind of like I just said about the Bucs. This team is offensively very, very good and loaded. And going back to the shot we have at winning this game is if Jimmy Garoppolo is starting because Stafford is somehow hurt. But it's
Jimmy
a real-
Garoppolo is still around.
Yes, he's a backup. McVay came out and said that when preseason started, it's like if it was week 1, Stafford would have played. So he's definitely dealing with the injury, obviously, but he's good enough from a health standpoint to play if they had to that early on. So I think they were going to do all the doping him up with shots and radiation and red light therapy treatment he's been getting. He'll be there.
Like Chernobyl type radiation.
No, so like if you saw a picture, like the Rams had this like mobile therapy, like Airbus set up outside their facility, and it does like red light therapy treatment. Like apparently, if you can research it, I don't know enough about it to speak on it, but like a lot of people use red light therapy for like recovery for muscle soreness, injuries, and things like that. So I think he's going to be ready unless something happens to him in the season and he's not available to play and Garoppolo's there. I think he'll be there by the time we play them, and he's going to carve us up. Nakua, Kyron, that defense is pretty good. I don't know where you got your information from. They're pretty good.
I thought the defense was kind of weak, huh? I'm wrong on that?
They're pretty good.
Yeah, somebody picked them, okay.
Me. Well, no, to be fair, that was my second defense, so it was my last pick. So I'm not like it's not like I'm homering for my my fantasy team. But again, this is a game where they have the advantage everywhere, so I expect them to handle us unless Stafford's not available.
All right, so we're still staying on the road. We're going back to a division game, and it's going to be against Carolina. And I do feel like Carolina is going to take a step up this year, and I think we're going to split. But for some reason, I have a feeling we're going to win against Carolina on the road. So I'm going to mark this one down as a W. I think, the Panthers are making the right moves to make themselves a better team. I don't think they're going to suck, forever. But I do think they're still a little bit away. I don't think they're that much better than we are. I think this is one after losing 3 straight that we're going to go out on the road, prove a point. And look, I didn't mention this, but I feel like somewhere in this timeline, between a loss to the Bears, a loss to the Bucs at home, and a loss to the Rams away, I feel like this is that time that we make that switch from Rattler to Shuck. So this might be Tyler Shuck's first win as a professional quarterback on the road against the Panthers.
I was about to ask that question when y'all thought Shuck was replacing Rattler. Did we reach this point yet?
Do you want to kind of revisit that after we get through the schedule and just maybe talk a bit more about that? Because we can kind of look back at where we think it could happen and maybe it should if it's not going well with Rattler. This does seem like the spot that it could happen if it does, because maybe week 5 is too early to give up on Rattler as a starter. If let's say like the Giants and Panthers get the Giants and Patriots, I would think those would be the two teams, maybe not the Giants as much defensively, where it's a home game, so there's a bit more comfort for bringing a new quarterback. The fans will probably be ready for this and embracing Shuck coming in. But also week 5 and 6 is maybe a little bit too early. Who knows? The Carolina game at home, I think would be where it would maybe go down if it's going to. Just quickly going, since I'm kind of still yapping, I have this game as a loss. I do think we're going to split with them. I just don't know if it's going to be the game away at Carolina.
I actually have this as a win. Again, I don't know who's going to be starting at this point, but what's the guy's name? Young was starting to look pretty good last year towards the end of the season, but I still don't feel like Carolina has enough pieces in place. I still think they're gonna be right with us at the bottom of the division. And I think this is a team that we can beat. So I'm marking it as a win.
Does anyone know off the top of their head what we played them late in the season last year, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember if we won? Did we win that game or did we lose that one?
I think we won.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look that one back up.
So just going back, I have now changed my pick to a win. Thank you, Todd. You've swayed me a bit. I don't think this team is that good. They're going to be a pain in our ass because they're a division opponent and they're familiar with us. But okay, Chuba Hubbard.
I don't think he's good.
I don't think he's great. He's probably okay.
I think Chuba kind of overachieves. I don't think he's ever going to be a great running back, but I think he plays better than people thought he would.
Yeah, and their wide receiver core is what? Thielen and the rookie is it Ted McMillan?
McMillan and Xavier Legette are going to probably be their two starters. I think Thielen's a free agent right now, so I don't think anybody signed him yet. I heard there was a potential reunion with Minnesota because Addison suspended.
Thielen's pretty washed.
But no, I do. Look, I'm a humongous Ted McMillan fan. That's who I'm not to say like I love him as a person or anything like that. I just think he's going to be a stud in the league. He was who I really wanted the Saints to draft in the first round. He obviously went earlier than us, but I think he's going to be a stud.
Carson is very high on him.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he would not stop talking during the draft about Ted McMillan after he selected them for the Neals.
Yeah.
Thielen is actually still on the Panthers.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He's probably going to transition to the slot position or be just a number 3 in general. Yeah, you know what? This is a win for me because unless Bryce Young progresses or his progression takes a good chunk of a jump up, he was still okay, not great. He was okay. So he went from being kind of bad to being okay, serviceable. I'd say he's probably on par with Rattler in terms of his play quality. I don't see what else about this team kind of worries me.
So we did lose the second game to the Panthers last year. The first one we won 47-10. That was when we were on that stretch of
we won like the first 5 games or so.
The game we won, was that the home game?
Yes, it was our home game, and then we lost to them on the road by 1 point, 22-23.
Yeah, I think we kind of fixed that this year, and I think we get this win on the road at Carolina. Just the defense not that threatening. I don't know. I couldn't name a defensive player they have that's worth a damn, or that would give us real problems. Hopefully by now the offensive line is gelled, and that we've got some consistency and cohesion there. And I just don't know if their offense is going to be good enough to win this game as long as we don't make stupid mistakes and turnovers. I think that's the only thing that's going to shoot us in the foot and cause us to lose that game.
So I also think this is going to be a win. I think the Panthers have one of the worst defenses in the league. Is that an accurate statement? Yeah. And I think this is roughly around the time, within the next couple weeks, hopefully before this or during this game, where Shuck's going to come in and take over. And I think it's going to kind of be a big, everybody's going to be pumped up, and we're just going to come out and get a win relatively easily with the Panthers.
Next game is going to be our hated division rival, the Atlanta Falcons, at home in the Dome. I have this one marked as another win. I feel like this is the one where the Dome really shows up. The crowds really get into it. I think there's a lot of passion in it. I know I might be in a minority on this one. I just feel like I don't think the Panthers are as good as everybody thinks they are.
Atlanta.
I'm sorry, the Falcons. I don't think the Falcons are as good as everybody is saying they are, because they're thinking,
the Falcons are who they thought they were.
The talking heads seem to think they're going to be pushing the Bucs for the division crown, and I just don't see it. So I think this is one the Saints come out with a lot of passion. They get a road win in Carolina. They come out and get another win at home against Atlanta, and it's I predicted they had another 2-game win streak earlier in the year. So we win back-to-back against division rivals.
I agree. I think regardless of whether we're a good team or a bad team, we always play the Falcons really well, or sometimes really shitty. It's kind of like a toss-up. But I think we're going to split with the Falcons this year. And I think this is the game that we're going to win it.
I agree. I just changed mine because I initially had us losing this one, but then I thought about it. And it's based off what Russell said, we usually do play the Falcons pretty well at home. It's that rivalry. Plus, I don't know where Penix is going to be at this point. Last year he showed definitely some signs of brilliance in the starts that he had. The Falcons do have a weak defense, correct? Am I wrong on that one?
I think they've got some decent corners, but I think their secondary is good, but their line may not be. But they did try to address that in the draft this year, so it's going to be something to see how their rookies pan out.
I think a couple of the list I look up at them pretty low.
So yeah, so I think the Saints can definitely win this one at home.
The knock on Atlanta has always been for the past couple of years that they keep loading up and trying to address their offensive issues, but their real issue is that they don't have a pass rush. So I think they tried to address that this year in the draft, but it's going to be seeing how the rookies pan out.
Now, Bijan Robinson is a beast, so can the Saints contain him?
Yeah, this is a win for me. One, it's home game. The biggest thing is first, number one, this is a game after our bye. So we get an extra week to kind of maybe figure out the quarterback situation if we made a change or something like that. But we get a week to game plan against this Falcons team and to try to slow down Bijan, like you said. Penix may not be ready yet or progressing well enough of being only a second-year player who only played, I think maybe 8-9 games last season. So he'll have a full season under his belt by the time we get to him, but that may not be enough. Drake London is a concern, but he's really the only concern I have with their offense other than Bijan. Penix would have to do a lot, I think.
Not Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, unfortunately, for Florida Gator fans, has not really done much of anything. And I don't think all of that.
So much potential, though.
I don't think all of that is on him. He certainly has played his part in not maybe being a better pro in terms of preparation, things like that. But Arthur Smith as a head coach, did not utilize him or even try to utilize him, I think, at all. So I don't think he's going to have a great impact unless they've made some wholesale changes with him and Penix, making some sort of connection. But their defense is not very good. If we can control Bijan and keep him modest, even 70-something yards, I think we have a good shot. We're at home. The Dome will be absolutely insane because it's Atlanta. And Penix may not be there yet, so I'll take this as a win, especially also coming off the bye week.
Okay. So the next one, this is one that I feel like is a lot of people may have it kind of as a toss up, but we go on the road to Miami. We play the Dolphins. I'm going to say that this is going to be an L for me, but a lot hangs on whether or not the Dolphins are going to stay healthy. I think when the Dolphins are healthy, they have two elite receivers. They've got a really up-and-coming running back that, of course, Todd and I drafted early in the draft. And if Tua can stay healthy, Tua is a good passing quarterback. So I think they present all kind of problems on offense that the Saints may struggle with to keep up with them defensively. Again, I don't think they're going to blow us out by any stretch, but I think this could be another close loss for the Saints on the road.
I'm going to assume that Tua is not eating out of a straw at this point. I'm just going to go with that mindset, and he'll have Tyreek, he'll have Waddle, he'll have A-Chain, and the Saints are going to lose.
I'm just going to agree, just a yes.
I have it as a loss. But I think, obviously, Tua's health is the number one concern and worry. I'm also worried about what is Tyreek Hill going to look like after the whole issues he had with the team in the offseason at the end of last year. Is he going to be a distraction in the locker room or for the team in general? Because if he's not,
I think Tyreek will be just fine.
He'll be just fine.
But he wasn't great last year though. He had a great start, but he tailed off a lot towards the end of the season. So, but it's Tyreek Hill. He's not full Antonio Brown level insane, but he ain't that far away. He's one speeding incident away from missing games possibly. Who knows?
He'll be all right.
He's just a wild card. Now, granted, he had that speeding issue week 1 and then went out and caught 2 touchdowns, so he can absolutely go nuclear.
And if he's not, we got DK Metcalf, Calvin Ridley, and Stephon Diggs.
But the Dolphins defense, not too concerned, although they picked up Minka Fitzpatrick. We'll see how that how that plays out to see if he's worth it, the trade that they did to get him.
He's always been a tad bit overrated, in my opinion, too.
He did blow Nick Chubb's knee out.
Well, but yeah, I have it as a loss. I just think if if Tua is still at quarterback and Hill hasn't gone AB, then they will be a threat because A-Chain is a home run waiting to happen. And I just think their offense probably is a little bit too much for us. And we're on the road, so.
And we have a new member that snuck in here and joined us, so he can
What's up,
pick up.
guys?
Sneak on by you.
So, Sean, what is your prediction on the Saints versus the Dolphins?
I see that
in Miami.
This game right here, that far in the season.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say it's based on how healthy the Dolphins are. If they got Tua, I mean, yeah, I'd say just Tua. I mean, I don't know about the rest of the personnel, but
Well, look, I mean, that's a logical answer because if Tua goes down, I think you see a dramatic dip in the performances of all their star players.
I just think the Dolphins are going to be very mid this season. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 stars is like the whole team's relying on that. Like you said, A-Chain, Tua, Tyreek, Waddle.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of enough.
Yeah, I know, but
I mean,
Darren Waller.
Tua.
who do they have behind that? Yeah, so
Darren Waller.
Darren Waller, huh? Yeah.
A-Chain, Hill, Waller.
Oh, the right end up there on the board.
Travis and I drafted half the fucking Dolphins team.
That's a bold strategy,
So,
Cotton.
so if Tua goes down week 1, we fucked.
Those frogs are back.
Maybe not A-Chan, but the rest of the team, yeah.
Did y'all already, say over under on concussions for 2 of the season?
Well,
1.5.
I think one might do his career.
1.5 over and under. Yeah, because he's going to get 1 and then he's going to come back and then get a second.
All right, so it looks like we all kind of have losses across the board pending to his health. So our next one, we actually go back into the division, and we play on the road against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I know I already stated this when we talked about the Bucks home game. I think the Bucks are going to beat us both times. I think they're that good. They supplied Baker with so many weapons. I think their offense is going to be really legit this year, and the Saints are going to have a difficult time beating them either time we play them.
Baker Mayfield, huh?
Yeah, I think Greg Java's going to be waving his Buccaneers flag around 2 times this year. But I've said it already. I just think the Bucs are a better team, and if they were going to beat us at home, they're certainly going to beat us away in that Raymond James Stadium with the pirate ship inside of it.
Champa Bay.
I'm gonna hate hearing that fucking cannon go off every time they score a touchdown.
Thankfully, it's not Tampa Bay anymore, but it's still Champa Bay, right?
Champa.
I have it as a loss as well for the same reasons we lost the first time to them. It's just the offense is loaded. They match up very well with us. They know us very well. The defense is good. Good. So I don't see how we pull this off unless we get some turnovers or something wild happens.
Got it as a loss as well. I mean, literally just the same reasons everybody else had the week 8 loss, and we're gonna just lose again.
Yeah, that's close. I'm looking at the schedule. They would play the Bucs pretty close together.
You think they win or lose this one, Sean?
Both losses, definitely.
Okay. So we're all in agreement here. The Bucs are going to just kind of sweep us and probably take the division.
Yeah, I think they'll probably run away with it.
So the next one, we stay in the division, and we're going to be playing the Carolina Panthers at home. And I stated earlier when we played the Panthers, I think we're going to get the win on the road. But I do think we're going to split with the Panthers this year. I think the Panthers are taking some steps in the right direction. I think they're going to be pretty equal to us. So, yeah, both winnable games for the Saints. But for some reason, I think we're going to win one, lose one. So I actually think we're going to lose this one at home.
I think we're going to beat the Panthers both times. Again, nothing about that team really impresses me. They were a dumpster heap last year. They may be a little bit better of a dumpster heap this year. That being said, we're right there with them. So I think it'll be a close game, but we're going to eke it out at home.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a second win for us with the Panthers, especially like if we get the first win off, we're on the road. I think we're going to come into this game and just do what we need to do and eke out the win.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hope it's at home and saying that, earlier in the season away we would have lost to them. I could see us winning that. I mean, they're an improved team, but, how improved? I mean, I can't say they're that much better than us. It's not like, our quarterback situation is what it is, but, I mean, we have some good pieces on our team. So I don't think we're going to be 1-15 or 1-16, whatever the hell. But
Okay, Travis, you said this was going to be a loss, correct?
Yes.
All right, so it's not a full sweep, but I will also take the W. You know what? We're going to beat Carolina twice, unless they find something that just clicks and works. I don't know and maybe I shouldn't think back to like the game that we blew them out like 41-17 or whatever it was, and then the second game where we lost by a point. We clean up some mistakes. We probably win that second game, and hopefully we've made enough progress by now to be more competitive and competent. So yeah, call me the optimist. I'm gonna take the sweep of Carolina, and we're at 5. Well, my record 5 wins so far.
So then we stay at home, and this one was probably one of my more intriguing ones too, because I think this one could easily go both ways. But I'm gonna take the W because we are at home. The Jets do have a scary defense. They have a quarterback that can run. They have a nice up and coming receiver in Garrett Wilson. They have 2 potentially pretty decent running backs on the team with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. But I think it's going to be a very tight defensive battle, and I think the Saints can come away with a win on this one. So I think it's going to be a very close win at home for the Saints.
I think it's going to be an L. I think the Jets are probably going to be a pretty up-and-coming team this year. They have a great defense. I think Justin Fields gives them a little more of a spark than the broken beatdown Aaron Rodgers did last year. Saints historically do have trouble with mobile quarterbacks.
They do. That's something definitely taking.
I think Justin Fields could have field day on the Saints.
pun intended.
So yeah, I think it may, although it may be a close game, I think the Jets come away with a win.
Fuck it, I think we're going back to back, boys. We're beating the Jets. I don't see anything out of. I mean, yes, Fields mobile, but you still need him to throw the ball, and he is not a great thrower of the ball. He is late with. He does not have great timing as well for his throws. So I think we can get an interception and do some things on defense to maybe get a fumble out of him, get a short field, capitalize on that. I think it's going to be a close win, maybe 2017. But outside of Wilson and Breece Hall, I'm not that intrigued by the Jets offense. I don't see anything that gives me a lot of pause. Defense will be good, so we'll have to deal with that. And Sauce Gardner trying to lock up either Shaheed or Olave. So that could be a problem. That could be a pick 6 waiting to happen. But
assuming they're both healthy this late in the season.
Yeah, but
it's all right. Mason Tipton opens the door for Tipton. Tipton mania.
Yeah. But at home, go ahead and give me the Jets.
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead, give me the Saints.
I just did mine real quick, and it's pretty funny. I have them finishing strong at the end of the season, so I say another home game win against the Jets.
It's going to be that Chuck magic. We're going to talk about that after we're done about when we feel like Chuck takes the reins from Rattler.
Did he get announced as the starter or no?
No,
not yet.
We're pretty sure it's going to be Rattler.
It's going to be Rattler, yeah.
All right.
Wait, did Russ give?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, I have this as a loss. It's late in the season. I think we're hopefully going to be coming off of a win at the Panthers, and I think we're going to lose this one. I don't really have a great reason for that. I know Justin Fields, right? Yeah, he's mobile, but I think it's going to be a loss.
So, to me, before we move on from this, I think that division could be very interesting. We talked about the Dolphins, and we know the Bills are going to probably win that division. But then the Jets are an interesting team. The Dolphins are an interesting team. I think the Patriots are still a little bit away. But that division could be really interesting to watch because I think the Dolphins could blow up and be really good. The Jets could blow up and be really good. So who knows? Be an interesting thing to watch.
I think the hope is that the Bills just punish the Jets and beat them down so much during the season that they are just done by the end of the season. Not really related, but question: was Fields and Wilson together at the same time at Ohio State?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe they can find that connection that they had again. It may not mean anything, but at least they know each other and maybe know a tendency that they both like.
I think that probably factored into the cards of them going to get him. It was like, okay, let's get a guy that Wilson has some chemistry with.
Plus, also just availability. What were your other options? Sam Darnold, maybe getting
Sam Darnold was already on the Jets, huh?
Could have drafted him. Could have drafted a first rounder.
Yeah.
You could have drafted a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have. I mean, not that you would really want to, but you could have traded for Kirk Cousins.
The Jets could have drafted Sam Darnold. Oh wait, they did.
Yeah, but but it's funny that we do say that because I think his name was in the conversation as a Jets reunion. But
Yeah,
the Jets fans were pretty sour on the guy. So I don't
It's like
think
Geno Smith. I mean, they evolve, they get better.
And to be quite honest, those two quarterbacks were in shit situations
Right.
when the Jets were still not great, but they were awful. So most every quarterback outside of like a transcendent talent was going to suffer there because that was before they had Wilson on and Brees Hall and whatever their defense is now. So they were never really probably going to succeed.
Right.
And the coaching was also fucking terrible. They had horrible coaches. So
Yeah. Drafting a quarterback that high and hoping that the team turns around, it's like, I mean, the teams are bad for a reason, It's like they have to be like Peyton Manning talent to turn this team around.
and
Look at Baker on the Browns.
I like Aaron Glenn as a defensive coordinator, and hopefully that for them that translates to him being a decent head coach. But you go back and look at the Jets' history; they've never had a good quarterback outside of like the Testaverde.
Yeah.
hold on. That's fighting words here.
Chad Pennington.
I'd stand by my statement.
Hall of Famer Chad Bennington. Yeah.
Chad Pennington had a very high completion percentage.
Did they go-
He led them to the playoffs.
And maybe they have, but did they go to the AFC Championship game with him? Did they have any success with him?
They did
I
beat
think they did
Peyton
go to
Manning
the
in the
AFC
Colts one
championship
year.
game. They lost.
Not what I
right?
asked.
I think Pennington's best year actually might have been that year with the Dolphins. When they made the upset in the playoffs.
They had
When he won comeback player of the year.
They had two stellar
Didn't he win
runs
twice?
with Mark Sanchez and Foot-loving Rex Ryan. Other than that, they've been ass since Joe Namath, who fucking sucks, by the way.
Yeah. Many argue shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but it's more of his hype. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
He's in the Hall because he guaranteed a Super Bowl.
Yeah, because
and somehow
he
delivered.
waved his finger in the air.
Yeah, with a 17-10 or whatever fucking it was win. The Jets suck. Their quarterbacks have always sucked. The team sucks. Screw them.
Tell me how you really feel.
Fuck the
The
Jets.
goddamn Jets.
I have a feeling Todd's looking up Pennington research over here. So
Until the Jets fully go back to like the Wayne Corbett Jets helmet years, I don't want to talk about the Jets. They suck. We're beating them. If we lose, I'll do a shot of
I want to say that was it like 02 or 03 when I think the Jets beat the Colts like 41-0 in the playoffs or something. It was pretty bad.
was
I think-
Sanchez?
No, I think that was Pennington. That was like
Pennington's career completion percentage is 66%, which ranks him as one of the highest career completion percentages in NFL history.
and did no real winning.
Pat, did I hear you correctly? Did you say if the Jets win, that you would take a shot at Malort?
I said it.
Win what? Win against us in week
If
16?
the Jets beat the Saints,
noting this down.
you
How
just
about
pencil me in for a shot of Malord.
Okay, so I have the Saints losing this one. You have them winning. So if I'm not doing that though because I want the Saints. I want the Saints to win this one.
Let me have the rope to hang my own self. If the Saints
Yeah.
lose to the Jets, I'm doing a shot of Malord,
I put a W too, so I'll take that too.
and then probably throwing up on air. You're welcome.
I can almost taste it right now.
all right, so staying on, let's. This one is going to be. Our next game is going to be away in Nashville against the Titans. I think this is one that we come away with another win. I think Cam Ward, I think, is going to be good. Like I think he's going to be a good quarterback, but I think the Titans don't have that much around him right now. I do think Ridley is going to be a magnet this year, but at the same time, I don't think the Titans are very good defensively. I don't think they're that great offensively. I think the Saints could easily win this one on the road.
Ridley, huh?
Hope he does. Hope he stays away from FanDuel and DraftKings.
That's true too.
Seriously.
This is a tough one for me. I penciled it in as a loss because it was away. It's the end of the season. The Saints are probably already out of the playoff hunt.
But I think the Titans will be too. So that's.
But maybe we have Shuck coming in playing, starting to step it up. But who knows? Maybe Cam Ward's starting to step it up at this point. I don't know, man. I'm going to leave it as a loss because I don't think the Saints are getting more than 6 wins, and that's what I have them at right now. So I'm just going to leave it. Titans win.
I have it as a W because I feel like they'll, get some stride, start the season off slow, new coach, new everything, and then maybe, win a few at the end and give us some
hope
something
next
to look
year.
forward to for next year.
That's kind of how I feel about the season overall. But I also agree with Todd. So this is my 6th win. So I think they will take the W on this one.
Mine too. I have them at 6-11. So
I actually had it as an L, but I just think they're going to finish with 6 wins. So maybe if I was to retract one of my previous ones, it would be probably the Seahawks away, but I'm just going to leave it like this.
Back to back dubs, boys. The only way we don't beat the Titans is if we are so putrid that we're trying to suck for a top 3, 4, 5 pick to get or something like that to get one of the better quarterbacks.
Sucking for Arch Manning.
Strategic shooting of the bed.
Yeah. We don't tank. Just saying.
I think we got to get out of the notion, like
I'm changing this one to a W. I changed the Seahawks to an L.
There you go.
All right, so what I think a lot of casual New Orleans fans are saying, oh, we got to, if we really suck, we need a tank for Arch. Arch has already said he's probably not coming out till 2027. So I think we need to take that dream and just get rid of it and just try to.
I did see where he said, I don't know where he got that, and he's referring to his grandfather, Archie, was apparently the one that said, oh, no, we're already in for next year or something. And Arch himself was like, I don't know where he got that. So we'll see. I'm sure it depends on how good of a year he has this year,
Can you imagine what it's going to be like if the Saints don't get him, though? I mean, we already got all these fans saying we should have drafted Shedeur. So what happens if we don't get Arch? Do you think it's going to be even worse? It's going to be
probably
a total crybaby fest. I mean,
the Newman connection, absolutely.
Yeah.
My statement I made, regardless of whether Arch comes out or not, the quarterback class this coming year is pretty good for the first 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's kind of excluding Arch. So we'll know by this time in the season whether Rattler is just not going to be enough to elevate us, or if Shuck is never going to, maybe not ready, but we can afford to maybe take another first-round pick or take a first-round pick on a quarterback. This feels like if we're that late in the season and it's kind of going bad and we're in play for like a top 5, 6 pick, that's the only way we don't win this game. I think we should beat the Titans despite Cam Ward probably playing pretty well. I don't know what else the Titans have offensively or defensively that is going to be a real problem.
Calvin Ridley.
Yes, barring him shooting himself in the foot with some ill-placed wagers. I think we'll be okay. I think we got this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if any of y'all drafted Pollard. I don't want to knock anybody's picks. I don't think Pollard's that good. I think Tajay Spears could potentially develop into something if they actually gave him a chance.
like
but
Maurice got Pollard.
But yeah. So, but I'm standing true to it. I think they win on the road in this one. All right. And then we close out the season on the road against our hated Atlanta Falcons. And unfortunately, my stance on this is I feel like the Falcons are a little bit overrated, but they could be making a potential playoff push for a wild card or something along those lines. So I think they're going to come out way more motivated than the Saints in that one on the road and probably get a W there. So I'm going to put that one down as an L for the Saints to close out the season.
Yeah, it's an L. Like, I had trouble. I initially had them losing both games to the Falcons, but I think with the home field advantage, just the rivalry, they're going to come out and play in that first game. This one, we're playing away. Season's over. I don't think we're going to win this one.
Agreed. I mean, like we were saying earlier, the home game, we play these guys well. Everybody's saying the same stuff. This is a loss for us. They're going to put up a good fight on this one, and they're going to come out and beat us.
I think they're going to have more to play for at that point in the season than we will, and definitely beat us.
Yeah, that's how I agree. I think the Falcons will be pushing for a playoff spot. They'll be like trying to get a wild card behind the Bucs, and that first Falcons game I had as a W too, because it looks like I think that's the game after the bye week.
Correct.
So I think they got 2 weeks to come out fresh and home game, big Falcons rival. They'll definitely win the first one.
I also have it as a loss just because I can't give the Saints more than 7 wins, number one. And two, being in Atlanta, probably going to help Atlanta give them a bump in a game against us. And maybe, I don't know. I have us beating Carolina twice. I have us losing to the Bucs twice. We got to at least split one with Atlanta. I don't know. I guess I get why team or people think that Atlanta is going to be contending for our division. I don't see that at all. I think they're going to finish second in the division just because the Saints and the Panthers are not going to be great. But I don't think that highly of Atlanta hate bias aside. So I have it as a loss. Just we're going to be kind of beat down, both the fans and probably the team, just how things have gone. and whatnot. So I don't see us winning this game to close it out. So I have us loss.
Yeah. All right, so just kind of go around the table real quick. I know Todd just walked out, and if he comes back before we all say it, now I think we already have a clear idea of what he thinks the record's going to be. But I have us finishing 7-10, and as I look at that on paper, I realize that's pretty optimistic. But after going through it, I do feel like 7 is very reachable based upon our schedule.
I also have 7-10. I feel like I could probably talk myself back out of 1 or 2 of those wins. So realistically, I think 5, but I'm going to give a little bit of a benefit of the doubt and just be a bit more optimistic, even though I shouldn't be. So I'll take 7.
My initial list, I had 7-10, but I made some changes, and I'm sitting 6-11 right now.
I got 6-11, and I have us going into that Falcons game as 2-8. So talking about them finishing stronger.
So really quickly, Sean, since you got here while we were almost all the way through, let's kind of go back really quickly just from the start of the season to get your win-loss for.
Yeah.
So first game, home to Cardinals.
Cardinals, I was saying W because that's a home game.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then definitely. I was giving it a W. It looked like Todd had it written as an away game, but it is their first game. It's a home game.
It's a home game. Yeah.
Second game is home again to Niners.
I'll say L to the Niners, L to the Seahawks, L to the Bills because it's all away, tough teams. W to the Giants, and then losses until the Falcons game. Loss to the Pats, loss to the Bears, loss to the Bucks, Rams, Panthers.
All right, so what do you like about the Patriots? Because I think we all think the Saints might win that one.
I honestly think the Pats are going to be a surprise. Talking about that division, I mean, the Dolphins could be there, but I think the Pats are an up-and-coming team, and they're doing the right pieces that they could be contenders, not to win a division, but second in the division probably.
I think the other thing with the Patriots is Vrabel is such a better coach than what they had before. So at the very least, that's probably going to win them another 2 games maybe. But they went what? I think they won 4 games last year. So they're not good. They're not good. But Vrabel will help them. But I don't think it's going to be enough. And I don't know if he's going to be able to coach them up enough.
I think Drake May can take a step, but not saying they're going to be amazing. I wouldn't be shocked if they're below the Dolphins.
I mean, there might be a really good connection between Drake May and Stephon Diggs.
Just saying.
You would hope.
Yeah. Didn't they bolster the defense, too? They got some pieces, I thought.
Yeah, they drafted a couple of defensive players that should be pretty good for them.
And even like the Patriots, even if when their teams were bad, they generally kept their defense pretty intact and played well. So Todd, you walked out. We were giving our record predictions. I think we know yours, but if you want to state it again.
Yeah, it's 6-11.
Okay. All right. So look, we're all around the same 6-7 win mark, and I think we all realize we could be a little bit on the optimistic side just because we're Saints fans. But I think we kind of all have us around in the same ballpark.
Should all throw some cash in and bet that 5.5 over under on their wins since we're all saying 6.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to bet money on that.
I know.
What would Calvin Ridley do?
Rack up the points for Tennessee.